we are. Cincinnati. Palates Opinions, we in the building.
Episode uno.
My name is Galen G. Gordon. This is Antonio Broadnax. Nelson Hutchings. Here to have a chat. Appreciate you being here, turning on the dial with us this evening. Palates Opinions is all about us having a taste for a cigar, and then a certain cocktail that we're going to have, and we're going to pair those. And so each episode we'll have a cigar that we'll be able to review with you and go over how we feel it tastes and the flavor profiles, and also how that pairs with a certain cocktail that we're drinking. Along with that, we've all got opinions.
Right.
We've all got opinions. And so we're going to chat and chop it up, some lighthearted, some a little more thick and detailed opinions that we may have about what's going on in Cincinnati and beyond. So we can kick it off. It is Who Day.
It is Who Day.
Week one.
Who Day, good day.
It's Palates Opinions, episode 1. So Who Day won today, so we should win as well. So let's talk about the Bengals. Is it our year?
I think it can be our year if we keep getting better. I mean, today we showed that we have a lot of weapons. The defense, I think, played great. Offense, I think, was a little conservative for my liking. I think once the offense opens it up, everything's going to change.
Yeah.
I think a lot will change once the offense opens it up.
Right. We were a little conservative early, I thought, and then finally, and then we took that fourth down on the 30. I thought that was a little suspect.
That was a little risky, man. But you know, it's always, that's football. It's all first, second, third week. Defense is always ahead of offense.
Right.
So it's not so much conservative. It's just they just getting in the tune, getting the timing together. So about week 3 or 4, man, they'll open it up. Because like you said, we got plenty of weapons.
Right.
We can run, pass.
Can Jamar Chase catch? Can he catch?
Man,
He got today.
It's a discussion on
Right.
And I mean, if go back to what you said about that fourth down, I don't mind it because I think we need to be a little gutsy.
Yeah.
I agree.
You got to try some things out. We've been conservative for too long, so I think it was some risk we needed to take. It's just needed. We've been conservative, man. That's what caused us to make this game so close, was being conservative.
There you go. Right.
As an ex-football guy, deep in the trenches, it's just like, if you got guys, because the defense looked like they was willing to lay it all on the line. I mean, corners was coming up and hitting. Bates was out there rocking it.
Did Cook get 100 yards? I don't think Dalvin got 100 yards today.
I mean, the game plan defense looked like it was, a couple plays across the middle. We start, giving up some plays across the middle, but you can only do so much. That's when the offense got to really go to war too.
Right. Thielen had a good game.
Special,
Thielen did.
Can't stop everything.
Yeah, Thielen. I mean, you got Thielen and Cook. They're gonna get theirs. Some way, somehow, they're gonna be impactful in the game. So, but I think overall, for a season opener, Burrow took some shots. He got up.
Right.
That's
good, right?
That's always a good sign.
Made you a little nervous when he tweaked that knee.
Right.
When he did that little limp off, man. Got a little nervous, but he bounced back, got on the bike and bounced back.
I mean, even, just spinning out of a couple of those, defensive rushes showed he was a little bit, he still has some mobility there, which is a good thing.
Right.
So I'm excited, The next game will tell. We got to get better. That's all I know. We're in a tough division.
Absolutely.
That offensive line really going to have to tighten up. They look decent, but they're going to have to really tighten up because Pittsburgh and Cleveland's D-line are coming.
Right.
Cleveland looking good against Kansas City. Pittsburgh knocked Buffalo off. Everybody was touting Buffalo as a AFC favorite.
Yeah. Hey, I saw a couple of situations where, and you can tell me better, you actually too. And I'm wondering if that's the actual scheme or did the defense just make a great call. There's a couple times where it was a center and a guard, and linebacker. It was the Vigil did it early in the game, and so but these two guys had somebody,
right?
And then this dude came untouched, and so I'm like, is that scheme or is that the upfront missing their assignments?
It depends on what the play is. Like you said, you never know. It could have been a running back supposed to pick that up. You never know.
If it was a screen on a screenplay, they let you come on in.
Yeah.
Right.
You can throw over top of your head. But I had to see the play to really be able to tell.
That's the thing, too. As fans, we could be as critical as we want. If we're not in the huddle, we ain't in practice, we don't know who's supposed to be doing what to some point. We only know certain things that should be done, but you never know.
Yeah.
It might have been like, let him go so we can, hit across the middle or Because, I mean, we had some nice trick plays.
We did.
How about that fourth down, right? It's faking the handoff and then throwing it to the tight end. That was
4th and a half.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. That's what we need to do. That's opening it up. So it's just a great day to be a football fan across the league. I mean, college football's in full effect.
Yeah.
You know, let's just segue right in. I mean, how about them Bearcats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bearcats,
Right?
Big 12.
Cincinnati rocking, right?
So how long do we have till we, when does it start, or how long does it we got to buy ourselves out of the AAC?
I think it's next season, really. Next season, right? It's $10 million
They're trying to.
if they leave early to go.
Yeah.
Or is it 2 years?
It's 2 years.
Yeah,
It's
I think it's 2
2023.
Right. But I think it's $10 million to go ahead and leave,
Well,
right? The next
I'm sure
year,
they got it.
2022.
I'm sure they got it.
We'll make that back in that conference. Our recruiting's going to go up. You know, my concern is this: how's that going to impact? Because UC picks a lot of Cincinnati kids, and when you go to that division, go to that conference, some of the Cincinnati kids, you know, may not get that opportunity now because you're going to get some bigger recruits. You're going to move from 2-3 stars to 3-4
Yeah, you get some
stars.
but they've been up. They've been up in their recruitment a lot. That's what are they, number 7?
Yeah,
6 or 7? So
Maybe those Cincinnati
in the top 10.
recruits that go to Michigan or OSU, maybe they'll stay around.
I want to see
You know
where
what
they're going to end up being ranked at. You know,
Yeah.
Old State took a big loss
Yeah.
in the shoe. Ooh, baby.
But you know what though? O State they were lucky to win last week against Minnesota. If that running back Ibrahim hadn't got hurt, they didn't look good at all. Their defensive backs was very suspect.
Their defensive line is terrible.
Yeah. Now the
They got
offensive
some
line
guys,
was
but
good.
they're not showing up. They're just not showing up. So, but like I said, it's a beautiful time to be a football fan.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at the crowds in the stands.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, that Ohio State crowd kept them in the game.
Yeah, they did.
That if it wasn't for them, I mean,
Well, you know, Buckeyes always got 100,000 strong.
right? They playing that game in Oregon. I think it's a blowout. I think
Right.
Oregon, and then Oregon's number one defensive line is in the game. Defensive lineman's in there. That boy's a problem. So
Let's talk about this smoke. We got this stick. This is a My Father, I think it's Fonseca, Robusto. So that tells me it's full body, right? That's my understanding. Full body. And it's my understanding it's got a little pepper in it. So I'm excited to get into this and see what it's all about. This is a Nicaraguan cigar. Colorado is the paper. So we're going to be right back here in a second. We're going to light these up, come right back to you. Palates Opinions.
yes, sir.
My name is Galen G. Gordon, and I'm running for Cincinnati City Council because we need proactive and intentional leadership from our city government. I am excited to announce that we are officially on the ballot. That means you can vote for me on November 2nd, 2021. Go to my website at galenforcincinnati.com, and I look forward to seeing you in November. You are appreciated. Paid for by Friends for Galen G. Gordon.
All right, folks, we are back. Lit up the cigars. Everybody poured a nice drink. Before we go any further, man, I want to talk about this peanut butter whiskey here.
Peanut butter.
It's crazy how we came upon this. It's called Hard Truth. The distillery company is Brown County, Indiana. So we were walking through Party Source, and one of the vendors stopped us. And I don't even think he's a vendor. I think he actually, is a big part of, the distilling factory down there. He might be part owner of it, but he was just talking about it. And I'm just thinking, like, peanut butter whiskey? So, they had little samples. And so he gave us a sample of the whiskey, and it was just, I ain't a big peanut butter unless it's my mama peanut butter sandwich with syrup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it didn't have a hard aftertaste, no bite on it. It was just really smooth. I gotta get a bottle of that. So we grabbed a couple bottles of it. And so if you ever get an opportunity to, give this a try, Hard Truth peanut butter whiskey is handcrafted in Brown County, Indiana. So it's right our next door neighbor.
Down the street.
Great taste. Great to pair with cigars. You fellas have had a couple sips of it. What do you kind of think about it?
Yeah. That's good. I'm going to finish the bottle myself.
I like the light flavor, man. I'm not a big, huge flavor. But, when I drink my bourbon, I normally drink it over ice with no chaser, no mixer. But I like the smooth flavor, a little bit of flavor into it.
I don't think it's an everyday whiskey like that. I think it's like one of those,
Every now and then.
kind of like a dessert whiskey if you think about it.
Yeah.
when you have a good meal and you're like, I need something sweet, but I don't want to eat my wife's pie.
Right.
You can, drink some of the peanut butter whiskey, and I think it'll kind of satisfy that little sweet tooth that you may have at the moment. So, but we was talking about college football, man, and just how the crowds are kind of just, everybody's there now, and we also know what else is in this world going around, right?
Yeah, man.
So how do you guys feel about the crowds and what's going on? You think that's going to be impactful to college football? You think it's going to slow us down, or you think we're going to be able to maintain the pace of the crowds?
I have a mixed feeling about that. I love seeing the crowds back. I love seeing the energy, love seeing the sport, love seeing the young men out there doing their thing.
Definitely.
No matter what school, what color you support, and I like seeing that. But the reality is that Delta variant's on the rise. There's still a lot of non-vaccinated people, and when you side by side, 70, 80, 90,000 strong, everybody yelling and screaming. It's floating around there. So, I hate I hate the fact that so much stuff has turned political. So I don't want to turn my answer to your question into a political answer.
Yeah. Well, it should be health, right?
You got a lot of those non-vaccinated folks out there, man, and it's you putting a lot of people into a potential super spreader event.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What's to my understanding, I think when you go to Ohio State, that you have to be vaccinated to be
to show a card,
I like
student. Okay.
Yeah. So you have to be vaccinated to be a student and be on campus, and I think even I don't know if it's to attend events. I'm pretty sure it's people from outside, but I think most of those student populations, if they're students, there may be vaccinated.
I think the students are.
And with the whole, let's talk. We can even segue into the whole Biden mandatory vaccination on 100 plus. So, like, how do you guys feel about that? Like pushing that?
I'm like, if it's government agencies, definitely. I don't know all the details. I haven't heard or read necessarily enough about all the details about private business. I would hope the private businesses would do it themselves instead of finding themselves in this position. But it's my understanding that he's not saying to them that they have to vaccinate, but if they don't, then they have to get tested. And so you have an option. And so to me, that works and that makes sense. And so he's not, to me, mandating that they force their people to get vaccinated. He's mandating they force their people. They got to protect the business, protect the staff. And I would think if I owned a company or a business, that I would want to make sure that I can still be here next year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I don't have a problem. I got vaccinated. I don't have a problem with that. I understand people and their views on personal freedom. So if you don't want to be vaccinated, what I don't understand is if you choose not to get tested.
I like it. I like the fact that he took a strong stance on it. I do slightly understand and fully respect an individual if they choose not to get vaccinated. But at the same time, you get a little tired of everybody saying, "Oh, you're infringing on my rights. You're infringing on my rights." Right. Well, a person not being vaccinated and potentially spreading the disease or spreading the virus is infringing on a broader number of people's rights. But I like the fact that he took a stance. To your point about the businesses, I think businesses are gonna follow suit because the vaccination is free. It costs you to test. Right. So if you've got 500 employees and you have to test 100 people every single week, at some point that employer is going to say, protect their bottom line. They're going to make a decision. So you'll have people fighting it. You'll have people arguing against it. But at the end of the day, are you concerned about your health or are you concerned about the greater good of the country?
I wonder how that's going to impact companies that are large companies, but a lot of their employees are remote, and they're going to continue to remain, let them stay remote. I'm
sure there's a provision there that don't matter. You know what I mean? But you saying like, in order so they don't have to deal with that?
Yeah.
Keep
so
them
it's
remote?
like because they've been a lot of companies have been the employees have been more productive being remote than they are. So
But I could answer that. I don't mean to step on your question. I can answer that for you because that's the exact situation I'm in.
Okay.
I work remote. They don't bother you until you're going into a public venue. So next week I have to go to a conference in Chicago. So the 7 of us from our company that are going to this conference, the conference was voluntary. Normally you have to go, but because of COVID, they made it voluntary. But if you do want to go, you have to show a negative COVID test to HR before you can attend the conference. So that's their way of saying we're not gonna push and mandate the vaccine on you remote folks. But if you are going to come in contact with us in a group setting, here's the provision you have to do. And I didn't have a problem with the CVS. They have their own self swab now, so you do the self swab, pop it in. Less than 48 hours later, I had the results. Forwarded to my HR department, and I'm good to go.
Boom.
So let's play devil advocate, right? I get the swab, the test. Who is to say that you swab yourself, you have a test that's negative, and then all of a sudden, the day of, you catch COVID, right? So we always have these slippery slopes, and there's always these ifs.
But those are minor. I think those are minor because, first of all, the reality is that it's a small percentage anyway. You got a small chance of catching it anyway. So then it's very, very minor.
If you're vaccinated or if you're non-vaccinated?
If you're not vaccinated, you still have. That's what the people's argument is. But some of that's true. Like, just because if y'all not vaccinated, just because you walking down the street together doesn't mean you automatically gonna catch it. So that's the argument. And so there's a part that's true. And so it's unlikely still, even more unlikely that, the day after you got a negative test, you turn around and run into somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But
so is it possible? Yes.
It's unlikely, but it's likely. Whenever there's just like it's a small percentage too, it's a small percentage not, so it's always that. And I think it's who's right, who's wrong.
Yeah. I think it's
I'm
unlikely.
playing devil's advocate, we ain't gonna just have the sweet topic.
I think it's unlikely.
Go smooth on this show.
I think it's unlikely. It doesn't mean that it's not important. And so to me, two things can be the same. And so people need, to me, I recommend, encourage, want people to be vaccinated. Again, if you're not going to get tested, wear a mask, that kind of thing. Don't be hanging out, whatever. But I understand to a small point, some of what people are saying. But I don't understand that, you're tripping over my freedom piece.
So go back to this, though, you just said, right, there's a small percentage that you can walk and get it. Yeah. That's their argument. So if there's a small percentage that I can get that, then why do I need to get the vaccination?
Because I think it's the best thing to do so that you aren't the one that's giving it to somebody else. That's for me. For me, that's what it is. I don't want to be the one, regardless of the percentage. I don't want to, you're right, it's like any life is a life too many, right? So I don't want to be the one that ends up giving it to somebody else.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree with that point. Somebody could take a test on Tuesday and contract the virus on Thursday. That's a valid point. But until I think we have a mass production of a rapid test where you could take the test and dip it in the fluid and instantly tell, you got to test some kind of way.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you don't test, right?
Yeah.
My argument is never about the test. It's never, like I said, it's more about seeing it from the other side, right? Because one thing we know for sure is everybody has a palate and everybody has an opinion. That's why we're on Palates and Opinions. But, that's a great argument for people as well, because it's like, I'll follow the guidelines. I'll get I'll take that test, and it may show negative when I send it to you.
Right.
Because you need it, right? But by the time I go to board that plane, by the time I get on that plane, get off of that plane, to get in that conference, anything can happen, right?
I'd also like to think, though,
it's the same thing with the flu and all the other things, right?
I'd also like to think that if you taking that test for a specific reason, because you're about to go travel or go somewhere, or if it's for work, that your habits for the next couple of days leading up to that, you know what I mean?
Everybody doesn't have integrity, everybody's character is not, so
I would like to think
that would be a perfect world.
You gotta go out of town tomorrow, right? You're probably going to be sitting at home.
And then just throw on a mask, man. A mask is not expensive. A mask doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't cost a lot. It's not heavy. You can put it in your pocket. Throw on a mask. I've got a couple of friends that are in the healthcare industry, and they're talking about how over the last year they've seen a drastic decline in things like asthma, right. Any kind of respiratory.
Washing our hands and wearing masks.
We've been cleaner than we ever been, right?
Not so much the cleanliness, but people wearing a mask, not being in each other's face.
Yeah.
They're doing it primarily to protect from a COVID perspective, but because of that, the collateral damage, if you will, has been that a lot of the other respiratory diseases or respiratory problems that they see in individuals that come to seek medical attention has gone down.
We was laughing at Mike Jackson. We should have paid more attention.
They don't really care about us, man.
You talk about the president and taking a stand, right? And so that kind of leads me to the war then in Afghanistan, right? And ending the war. And so he took a stand. And so now also we lost, how many military families we have? One military family?
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah, somewhat. And so the president took a stand. Now he's the one that got us out of there, and where other presidents haven't. But we also lost at least 13 lives or something like that, right? Towards the end. So I don't know. Are we glad that we're out? You got a unique perspective. Are we glad that we're out? Is it? How do we feel about that? Obviously, I think we all believe it could have been done better.
Right. I'm glad that we are. I had this conversation with somebody early. My thing is this: it's just I understand that we are a superpower, as far as the United States. But I think what happens is when we go and disrupt other individuals' cultures and we make changes for that culture, right? And then you abruptly leave and expect that to be the same. You put those people in a bad situation, right? And I don't think that it's sort of like how when you're married, right? If you have money and your wife is used to living a certain way, when you get a divorce, guess what? She's gonna get what?
Half
alimony,
right? Because
Yeah.
she has to uphold the lifestyle that she's been living, right? That you created for her, per se. It's the same thing. It's like we leave those people, but we don't leave with no type of alimony. They go back to. If we don't go in there and disrupt things and shake things up, let people's culture be their culture, even if we disagree with it, right? Because people disagree with ours. It's their culture, it's their livelihood. We can agree to disagree with it. It's not for us. It's taboo for us, whatever. But when you go in and shake things up and give them this new perspective and then leave knowing that that's going to be taken away in their lives, I think it's bad. And to do it the way we did, I think is bad, especially for the women that are over there. That's going to be horrible for them. Especially for a woman who's been, vocal, who's been free, who's been, just out.
Just after some of the Western ways.
Some of the Western ways. Now, I mean, it's immediate death for them, you might as well say. It's just a death sentence. So, and we created that death sentence for them.
I kind of struggle with it, man, because I agree wholeheartedly with the way you frame that. We're a superpower, so we do owe it to the world, and we do owe it to be around the world so that we can protect us here at home. But I also think the United States does a lot of policing other nations, other countries, other cultures, other religions that we don't need to police everybody. Right. You got some people that have been at war for 1,000 years. Just because we go over there and say stop doing it, that doesn't mean it's gonna change.
Band-Aid on a deep wound.
But I do think that we could have left in a better manner, and that to me has me a little confused. I'm not a military guy, but from a planning, strategic perspective, it's like if you're going to do this in 6 months.
Right.
Start to get all the civilians out. Start to get all the allies out. Start to get all the interpreters and start easing their families out. Don't take the military out first.
Yeah.
Now what I don't like is you take the military out first. You see all this disruption, and now it appears, and I don't know all the strategic mindset of what's going on, but it appears like we're trying to work in partnership with the Taliban and sometimes make requests. Hey, can we let these people through? Whereas my mindset would have been a little bit more like,
we don't
let me get all my folks out, and then we're gonna tell you, Taliban, what we're gonna do. And don't cross this line until we tell you can come across this line.
Yeah. We just left so many people out, and there people that helped the U.S. be successful in missions and intel and different things like that. Now those people are, for the most part, are just done because they are. I mean, the Taliban's been watching for 20 years, taking notes. Right. Waiting. That's what terrorists do. They wait. They take notes. They wait to strike. Right. Now they got the names of the people. They know the people who's been helping the U.S., who their family is, and they're just on an island by themselves.
I'm glad we're out. I think we could have did it in a little more efficient manner. I don't think it'll ever be a perfect manner though.
Yeah, easy way out of there.
Perfect way was just to let them be what it's gonna be, man. Protect the home front. Let us be. We can't, like you said, we can't heal the world.
Right.
That's it. Okay, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back, let you know how we feel about these cigars we have, the My Father Fonseca's Robustos. Palates Opinions. We'll be right back.
My name is Galen G. Gordon, and I'm running for Cincinnati City Council because we need proactive and intentional leadership from our city government. I am excited to announce that we are officially on the ballot. That means you can vote for me on November 2nd, 2021. Go to my website at galenforcincinnati.com, and I look forward to seeing you in November. You are appreciated. Paid for by Friends for Galen G. Gordon.
All right, we are back. Man,
Yeah.
I've always said that I have never had a bad My Father. This Fonseca's pretty good. It's not a bad cigar. I wouldn't put it up there with my Judge. But My Father Judge is going to always be the one. But it's not a bad cigar. I'm not getting the peppery taste out of it so far. It's a very mild cigar. I think, it's a very, very mild cigar.
Yeah.
A good smoke when it's kind of warm like it's been these days. You're not going to get overpowered.
Right.
So far, so good for me.
Yeah, I was a little, when we said it was going to be the Robusto and going to be full-bodied and that, and when I heard about the pepper, I thought it was going to be a little more than what I wanted, but to me, it's smooth. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like it. Smooth, mild. I'm a mild cigar guy. I'm probably not as much of an aficionado as these two gentlemen here, but yeah, definitely mild, smooth. Easy to smoke.
Nice. Yeah, great with the
peanut butter whiskey.
Peanut butter whiskey.
Goes
It's a
very
mild
well
cigar with a mild drink. So, we talked a little bit about Afghanistan and what's going on over there. So let's talk about what's going on in Cincinnati. The city council field has been set.
Oh, yes, it has.
It is going down.
There he is.
And look who we have.
There he is.
He himself, G3. Galen Gordon.
Galen for Cincinnati.com.
Talk about it, Galen. Talk about
Absolutely, yes.
The field is set.
The field is set.
First of all, what does that mean?
So that means, my name is Galen G. Gordon, and I'm running for Cincinnati City Council. And so the field is now set. Signatures are in. We're out engaging with voters, talking to people like you. There are, I believe, 32 people finally who have gotten their signatures in properly. There's still a couple people, actually, believe it or not, who are appealing decision by the Board of Elections. So it's possible that you might see an addition or two. But for the most part, the field is set. The election for everybody in Cincinnati is November 2nd. And so I wanted to know from you folks, especially because some of us are different. Some of us live immediately in the city limits and some of us don't. But I truly feel like we're all impacted by what happens in the city, right? And so it's a funny thing, being in the greater Cincinnati area, being impacted, being a Bengals fan or jobs or schools or whatever. And so what are your ideas, or maybe what might be a priority from your perspective, especially if you live in the city or don't live in the city? What's a priority you think that's important, either that you do see the city doing or maybe that you don't, that you'd like to see?
For me, I don't live in the city. I live out in Coleraine, but I'm always in the city. I do a lot of work in the school systems in the city. For me, the big priority is putting things together for these kids. So, giving these kids something to do, something to prevent them from, just being out there. We need to create more resources for the kids, whether it's in school, whether it's in the neighborhood. I think our future depends on what we do for these kids. And I think the priority should definitely be on the youth, making sure, because they're going to be the future of Cincinnati.
Right.
They're going to be the face of Cincinnati. So in order for that face to be one that we approve of and we enjoy and we love and it's productive, I think we need to pour as much as we can into them. So I think definitely for me, it's always been the youth, the parents of the youth, whatever we can do to support. Because I actually, for those that don't know, I am a life coach. I do coach parents on how to connect with their kids. I think that's a big bridge that needs to be built. So it's just pouring into the parents and these youth, man, from kindergarten all the way up to seniors to mid-20s, man, because you're still a kid, whether you believe it or not.
Yeah. So Nelson, you certainly, so you don't live immediately in the city limits, but I think that you certainly, and you can tell more, everything that you do, whether it's for your family or for your job, is impacted by how well Cincinnati moves along, whether it's the airport or the businesses within the city or whatever. So what is kind of your perspective from that perspective, what are your feelings?
Yeah, I would echo a little bit what Antonio said. You know, I definitely think the youth are, you know, that's the future. But, you know, I like to see, well, I like that I see Cincinnati growing. You know, if you think 10 years ago, we used to make a joke where the sidewalks rolled up at 5 o'clock. So if you worked at P&G, or back then I think Chiquita was downtown, or Cincinnati Bell or IRS, if you worked at one of those, Kroger, if you worked at one of those major Cincinnati locations, 5 o'clock, everybody raced to get back out to the suburbs. And now I really like seeing the development. You know, you got the new Krogers downtown. You got some different stores opening up. People are now migrating downtown to live downtown. So I'd like to see that growth continue. Maybe do some things to pull some additional businesses into the city, which will have a trickle down effect. You know, then you'll have more people that'll have more job opportunities. You'll have more people that already have their jobs to be able to network and grow within, you know, the community, and just make Cincinnati, you know, I don't know if larger is necessarily the best word, but a larger, more attractive, you know, place to be. Yeah. Whether it's for work, whether it's for fun, whether it's for sports, you know, whether it's
work, live, and play.
For diversity, whatever the case may be.
Yes, for myself, and I've been obviously going around and speaking to people who live in the city, who, you know, have been here for years, to people who are fairly new to the city. And what I'm most passionate about, we have 52 neighborhoods, right? And so, but not every neighborhood is deemed desirable. Not every neighborhood is deemed attractive, right? That's the perception. And so how do we change that? How do we impact that? How do we make it so that, you know, everybody's got a clean, safe, affordable place to live? And so I think that comes through entrepreneurship and small businesses. And so what I'm most passionate about is rebuilding our neighborhood business districts. Every neighborhood in this city's got a nice little business district that they had at least at one time, and that's been depleted, whether it's been through some type of neglect, lack of investment. And so I feel like that's the way that we restore neighborhoods. If you can rebuild the business districts and attract small business owners and entrepreneurs, whether it's through arts, when you start talking about resources and being creative for our youth, creating opportunities, rebuild the neighborhood business district, and then you can restore the neighborhood. You start getting fill the empty storefronts. You get the lights on. You get some vibrancy, right? Create accessibility and walkability, right? And then you make it so then it's safe for people. That's the first thing. So that's what I'm really thinking is the key to creating opportunity in Cincinnati. You spread. It also does something for affordable housing. Instead of everybody wanting to live in 5 or 6 neighborhoods, right? We can spread that out, and people want to live in other neighborhoods that right now people are looking at like, oh, don't go there kind of thing. And so we want to change that.
Let me ask you a quick question on that, because that's a great platform, I think, in terms of safety, in terms of desirability of additional housing to go from, you know, only 5 desirable places to maybe 25. And I know that's big on your platform. How do you see us taking the first step to begin to accomplish that?
I think the first thing, you've got organizations right now already who do a lot with entrepreneurs. You've got organizations who already every day they find funds for people, right, to own and operate businesses and start businesses. But the city has to make it the priority that we're going to invest in these neighborhoods that are not currently being invested in. And so every neighborhood has a community council, and every neighborhood actually has a neighborhood plan. And they've already, and I've gone through every neighborhood's plan, and just about every single one of them, one of their highest priorities is rebuilding their business district. Yeah. That's what they want. They want businesses there, whether it's a coffee shop, whether it's somebody selling widgets. You know, it could be a small something with technology and computers. It could be a restaurant, whether maybe it's a laundromat, whatever it is. Finding ways that we can create jobs also, because then you create opportunities for employment for people who don't have to get in a car because they don't have one, or they don't have to get on a bus and drive and ride across town. They can either walk there or get there, you know, in a fairly simple amount of time.
Do you believe the city's ready to?
They will be on November 3rd.
First day in August.
You heard it here first.
First day, you heard it here first. But do you think they're ready to deploy those and disperse those funds in a more equal, broader fashion. Because right now, I'm just making these numbers up. Let's say you've got $1 million, and that's split up $250,000 amongst 4 places. Or is the city ready to, instead of $1 million, maybe generate $5 million that you can spread amongst 30 different places?
I think what's happening right now is we're not being proactive and we're not being intentional. So it's not even necessarily that that the city is investing in these neighborhoods. These neighborhoods were invested in at one point, right? The ones that are deemed desirable. But the city, I think, has not been intentional about putting investment in the neighborhoods that are deemed less desirable. And so we've had a focus, which I believe was important, a focus on downtown. We've got to focus on the residential area around downtown. So in the basin, as we call it, whether it's OTR or the West End, that kind of thing. But it is time now. Now it's time to start paying attention, whether it's Sailor Park or Bond Hill, whatever it is, it's time to put the investment in the business districts in those other neighborhoods. And so that has not been happening. And there's certainly been conversation about it, but we got to move faster. And there's plenty of private-public partnerships, those kind of opportunities as well, where we could do that. And so I think the city's been really focused on downtown, which was important at the time. I don't think it was not important. So again, as you said, we needed, whether it's casinos or streetcars or, we needed to make, the city more attractable as a whole.
That's how you do the city anyway. Most people's downtown is the most attractive thing because that's the first thing you come into. So
the first thing you come into. We got to reach out now.
Yeah, I think from my opinion, I've always believed that we need to find, like you said, there's 52 neighborhoods, right? Out of those 52 neighborhoods, each one of those neighborhoods have something unique.
They're all unique. They're all unique.
We need to find leaders and the uniqueness about that and be able to highlight that uniqueness. I don't care if it's Wynn Terrace. I don't care if it's Avondale. I don't care. Wherever it is, everything.
And there are people there who have entrepreneurial mindsets.
Exactly.
Who we can give them whatever tools are necessary. So now those folks have some ownership and investment in their own neighborhood.
But then I'm going to go back to what I believe and pour into is the youth, right? We need to start teaching this entrepreneurial mindset to the youth because those are going to be the ones that build those neighborhoods. They're going to be the ones that sustain those neighborhoods because they're the next ones coming up. Well, if you take a 13, 12-year-old, teach them entrepreneurship and they have a business starting at 16 until they're 30, 40, 50 in that neighborhood, right? And then they employ their kids. And, so once again, I always say the youth, man, you got to really invest in those programs.
Absolutely.
And you talk about entrepreneurship, who better to teach to be an entrepreneur than someone young?
Somebody who's already thinking
because they're already thinking about how to make money, how to be creative. These kids are very, very creative. And I think that's a lot of the frustration with our youth, that they're so creative, but it's bottled up because there's nowhere to express their creativity. So we have to do better to, be able to enhance that so they can take what they have to the next level and makes this city what it is.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you look at big cities, a lot of the youth is what drives the city. I mean, when you look at church, what drives the church? It's not the congregation, it's the youth, right? If you don't have a good youth pastor and a good youth, the church is going to die. It's the same way with the city. So, I think we need to pour into it instead of trying to lock all the kids up, see what we can do to help them out.
Yeah. There's a couple of great youth organizations, one specifically called Young Not Silent. And Youth at the Center, they've got a youth platform. And the key, though, for them is, and it just makes sense, right? Bring the young people to the table. They're going to tell you what they need or what they want or what they feel or what they don't like. So give them an opportunity to speak. We spend too much time talking at kids, talking at young people. Right?
I've been saying that for years.
We're about to get them started. Let's not get you started.
Don't get me started.
Instead of letting them speak or speaking, with them and listening to what it is that they need. And so
learn to talk your youth's language, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Understand their language. Once you understand their language, then you can navigate and communicate.
Sure enough.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep. So
the election's November 2nd.
November 2nd.
Early voting is happening in Cincinnati. It is happening in the state of Ohio. I believe whatever that Monday is, you can go on October 3rd, I think it is. You can early vote. You got to go directly to the Board of Elections if you want to early vote. Certainly you can vote absentee as well. They'll mail it to you. You have to request it. And you can, if you're not registered to vote yet, you can go get registered to vote up until the day before early voting starts. So anybody who's not registered, is not too late. And all politics are local. So, we spend too much time, I think, just on the national elections and the big presidential elections. And we don't understand that, that person who ran for city council today is your next congressperson, 4, 5, 6 years from now. Mm-hmm. And then people looking up and saying, well, how did this guy get here?
tell the people, Galen, because I don't live within the city limits and able to be able to vote. But, as you know, obviously I've tried to support you in other ways. Sure. Take a second to speak to the people and tell them how they can help Galen Gordon make it to city council.
Hey, you can help me a few ways. Volunteering is huge right now. So again, GalenForCincinnati.com. You go on there, you can sign up to volunteer. We knock on doors, we do honks and waves. If you've got some type of technological savviness, there's many, many ways that you can help. Certainly donating money at GalenForCincinnati.com. Again, as well, we've got all kinds of mailers that we have to get, signs that we have to get. Also, if you live in the city and you want to put a sign in your yard, Mr. Clarence, we're going to put a sign in your yard. Yeah, you want to put a sign in your yard, that'll help. Anything to help get the name out. If you also know people, right? It's not always about, I don't think I can do too much. You might just know 10 people. Have them come over. We can sit outside. It is, a pandemic. We can sit outside and talk. We do a little meet and greet. So there's an opportunity there as well. I'm happy to come and speak to people. I'm happy to speak to people even one-on-one. So there's all kinds of ways, opportunities, and options. And if you want to speak to me directly, again, GalenForCincinnati.com. I'm happy to talk to you. I love Cincinnati. I'm the type of person who has always loved this city. I chose to move back into the city. Born in Madisonville, went to Bramble Elementary. Miss Patterson used to whoop us with a paper towel holder, and but we moved to the suburbs. But I made a conscious decision to come back and live within the city limits because I love this city, and I believe that we can be successful here. And so I choose to live here, and I choose to love it here. And I want our young people, like Antonio's saying, if we start at an early age, right, we can get them ingrained and get them into the thought process into believing that they can be successful here as well. And then people aren't trying to run to other big cities where they turn around and just find out that it wasn't no better than where you were. So that's where I'm at, GalenForCincinnati.com.
And just so you know, Palates Opinions, we love to hear the people's voice. If you guys would like to be on the show, we have a platform if you're a black-owned business. If you have a product you just want to highlight, make sure to reach out to us on Facebook. We definitely want to support you. I want to give a shout out to a couple people I know because I know a lot of people are running for different things. Mary Weinberg. Dr. Moffitt,
Yeah, Dr. Moffitt.
Cincinnati Public Schools.
Let's get them on there.
Those two women are
phenomenal.
Phenomenal at what they do. They work hard. They love the youth. So, if you get an opportunity to get out and support, we have a beautiful city. We got to back each other, So we invite guests. If you want to come on here and just
kick it,
feel free. That's what we do. We are laid back, as you can see. We can agree to disagree because that's what Palates Opinions is about. Different topics, different conversations. Speaking of different topics, different conversations. It's a big topic, big conversation right now with Kanye West and Drake going on.
What are they doing?
Let's first of all, have y'all listened to both albums?
I have not.
I haven't either.
Okay, so I listened to both albums.
Yes.
I re-listened to the Kanye album. I listened to Drake's album. Personally, I think Kanye has a better album because I think Kanye is he's outside the box. People might think he's weird, but I think he's just in a space where it's about being creative.
Yeah.
It's not about the fans, what you like. It's sort of like, I call it the Michael Jackson of impact, right?
Yeah.
He's just on a whole nother level with it sonically when it comes to music. Drake is a master at marketing and the sales. He knows what he needs to focus on, how to get his sales. Right. I think they both made albums to tick each other off, but I think there's something huge in the future coming with them. I mean, this it's just ridiculous that two people at that high level of music and their careers, are beefing.
Right.
You don't see Bill Gates beefing with Elon Musk. So
that's because they know there's plenty out there.
I mean,
right.
They know how to stir the pot. They know how to make the money, how to get the fans, you know. But I think you really got to give those albums a listen. I think the best song on Kanye's album was the best song that wasn't on Kanye's album was the Andre 3000 verse.
Yes, that's what I heard.
So if you get an opportunity to hear that, please listen. I hate that it came out the way it did because I think it put Andre, it really pushed him back away from music.
Mm-hmm.
But the way
Drake put it out there, is that right?
Yeah, the way that Andre 3000 just surgically put that verse together, man, it shows that we like to call it God tier in the rap game, right? That dude's he's one of a kind, man. He needs his flowers.
Yeah, he does.
You know, so definitely Andre 3000 gets his flowers, man. But both of the albums, I think, are for who they're for. You know, if you like what you like, if you like the, you know, I think they both provide something for you. They both in their own space.
Right.
So, I mean, when you're creative, you're a little weird, I like to say, right? The most creative people are kind of different, right?
A little uniqueness to them.
Genius, man. It's genius,
right?
You know what I mean?
It's Prince and Michael Jackson all over again.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's like, just make an album together.
Put on some heels.
You kill it. You kill it.
But you also had the question, though, man, because both of those guys are monumental in the game, right?
Very much.
So, are they really beefing, or is this manufactured and created so that people like us sit around and talk about it,
right?
Which is then going to drive more people to go. And I mean, I think it's a great marketing scheme. If it's real, it's real. If it's not real, it's a great marketing scheme.
I think those men, I think they genuinely have a gripe against each other because they were so close, right? It's sort of like when I'm talking to my kids, you know, I always tell them, people that you usually fall out with are the people that you were closest to, right?
Yeah,
because they know things about you, they know how to, right? And it's like they were close. I mean, Kanye kind of nurtured Drake in the game, right? Did something he didn't like, and he felt like, well, my mentor kind of hurt my feelings. But if it's like that, I can show you I really don't need you, and it's like I'm still here, I'm still Kanye. So I think it's a beef there. I don't even say a beef. I'm gonna say more of a gripe, right? More of a like you did something to make me mad,
right.
I ain't gonna sit down with you because I'm angry. You know, like a little kid turn the shoulder, like that's one of those things, you know. So. But we'll see, man. I just keep pumping out the music, man.
That's all you can do.
Just keep being creative, man. We know that it ain't gangster rap, so it's not going to turn to anything that's crazy.
We learned from that, didn't we?
It's going to be a lot of funny things and a lot of pettiness. You know, so I think that's where it's at with them.
But that pettiness is going to drive sales for both of them.
Yeah, man.
Can't be mad at them.
Yeah. So also too, guys, while we're at it, man, me and my brother had an opportunity. We went to Memphis this past weekend. We were down at the Bill Street Cigar Fest. Okay. Memphis, thank you. Memphis was off the chain. The Bill Street Cigar Fest was the first black 3-day cigar event.
Wow.
All black vendors.
My favorite city,
right?
Memphis.
You like Memphis, don't you?
I love Memphis.
Like, man,
I'm always trying. I
got family
always trying to get me to go to Memphis.
It's good, man. I love Memphis. Is nice, man. Yeah. It's a good time. But the way they did their cigar event was classy. It was hands down great. The music, the performers, the 3-day event was just it was great. You know. So
tell us about the experience. Like you did VIP down there.
So we did the VIP. We did 3-day VIP passes. What you do, you get a ton of cigars. You get to sit up front. You had the shaded area. You know, you got drink tickets. You got your cigars. Good music, and then it was like that for 3 days straight.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Why didn't we broadcast from down there?
Yeah, we could. I actually did a podcast interview while I was down there. I forgot the name of it. I'm sorry. I'll post it on there. But it was a great podcast. You know, kind of messing people down there. But I think it'd be a great opportunity. You know, the next one. Yeah. Just drop down and do a podcast from the event.
Nice. Coming to you, Memphis.
We can be
matter of fact, I mean, I'll be honest, I think we're gonna do a Palates Opinions event here in Cincinnati. It's coming. Okay. You know, we're gonna be putting together some cigar events with us and cigar bros. We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
It's needed. It's a culture. You know, it's growing. A lot of people don't know about it, but it is. It's a big thing. It's a culture. It's a great way to meet people.
Right.
You know, I met some great people, connected. You know, over some adult libation and some cigars, right? So, you know, I think that it's time, Palates Opinions, we put it on. You know, this may be episode 1 for you guys, but we've been doing this for a while. All of us, we've been getting together for a while. We've been, just talking about topics. We just wanted to bring it to the people. That's why we say, if you want to jump on the show, shoot us a message on Facebook, and we'll gladly sit down and invite you on the show. You can showcase your product, whether it's cigars, whether you do wines, whether you do clothes, whatever it is. We're here to support our city and the people in our city, so take advantage of it. We're here for you. We're all about that growth, man.
All about the growth. Let's make it happen.
November 2nd, vote for this man.
Yeah, vote for him.
Galen
Get him in the seat, And, there's this empty space here.
Yeah.
Galen, who are we missing today?
We're missing our queen, Miss Ameenah. She'll be back the next time, and God bless us with her. We're missing her right now. Yep. She'll be back for the next episode.
Yeah, we love the opinions. We got the guys up where we are.
There is a place for the ladies.
Yeah, so we like to see we got to see the flip side of the coin. We see it one way, we like to see it your way, and have that conversation.
That could be a nice topic for the next go round, because there's a lot of women, a lot of African American women. Mm-hmm. Not that it has to be catered to African American, but a lot of women smoking cigars now.
Mm-hmm. It's a culture for women.
Whereas before it used to be a man thing, to sneak away in the man cave and drink bourbon.
Right.
You get a lot of women smoking cigars.
Yeah, absolutely. We in Memphis. I mean, it was huge. That was it was couples down there, and the women were like, "I don't need you to light my cigar. I got this."
Right. They got their own fire. They bedazzle their little cases so it looks nicer than yours.
It was a very classy event. That's why I say, we'll be putting on another event. We did a Cigar Bros event a couple years ago. Pandemic hit, but we will be back. It's just time, man, to embrace the culture.
Very good. That's it. Palates Opinions, we appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
Check us out next time.
Yes, sir.
Antonio Broadnax, Nelson Hutchings. I'm Galen Gordon. Our producer is Brother Clarence Dickinson, bringing it in. Peace.
One thing we know for sure, everybody's got a palate, everybody's got an opinion.
Till next time.